Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl JoJo, and I'm coming to you with a review for Put a Ring on It. Yes, it is a little bit of a delay. It was a drill weekend this weekend, so I worked from Tuesday to Sunday because y'all know I do work full time. So and I do drill weekend, so it was quite the week for me. And I just couldn't bring myself to do videos on Sunday. So here I am on Monday doing the video. So definitely a little bit of a delay, but we're going to go forward and do what we need to do. I didn't take any notes for Put a Ring on It or Love and Marriage Huntsville. I really just watched the shows, and I'm going to go off my memory, which is never good. I did that the last video, and I kind of rambled, but I'm going to do it again this video because we're getting down to the wire of Put a Ring on It anyway, so we kind of already know what's going down. I feel like this is such a weird angle. Like, I don't know. I'm going to make it work, though. All right, so Put a Ring on It. I know what y'all want to talk about, but y'all know we got to get the little stuff out the way. I'll start with Ronda and Sean this week because they actually wasn't too much going on with them. When they meet with Dr. Nicole in the beginning, it's really just a continuation of last week. Do you want to go out on another date? Why or why don't you want to go on another date? And for Sean, he is going to go on another date with Teray, because he realizes that he's kind of holding himself up in this process and he's not really experiencing the process for everything that it needs to be. Because for him, he just doesn't want to step into the lake of fire and get burned because he already knows the type of person that he's been in the past. He doesn't want to be in a situation where he's cheating on Ronda because this is the first relationship where he has not cheated. But Dr. Nicole, I guess, is helping him see. I think this is the flaw in the show to me. Once a person decides, I'm sorry the camera's shaking, but once a person decides that they don't want to deal with anybody else or they don't want to have any other partners, they only want their partner, I just think that it should stop. Like, what's wrong with Sean wanting Ronda and understanding that he doesn't want to date anybody else? But the basis of the show is you're putting yourself in certain situations just to make sure that that is the person for you. Now, I do know people who've broken up like that. Like, they thought they were with the right person, but then they started to feel like there was something more on the other side for them. So I get that thought process happens, but if Sean is in a place where he just don't want to do it, I don't see what the problem is. Y'all help me see it if I'm looking at it wrong. But he didn't really want to go out on any more dates, but he is going to go out with Teray because he is attracted to her, and you know, they do have a lot in common, so he gonna go out with her. Look, I guess, but there's always people that we will have stuff in common with and that we'll find attractive. It doesn't mean that we're gonna be thinking like, oh man, you know, maybe I should try this out in spite of what I don't know. Help me if I'm looking at it wrong, y'all. LaRonda thinks that it's a good idea that Sean does do that because I know that if LaRonda says this, if I'm put in a situation where I'm tested, I'm going to pass the test every time. Can you say the same for yourself? So I guess she's kind of seeing it like Dr. Nicole as well. Like, do you trust yourself to be around beautiful women? And he was just like, you know, I got to get to the point where I can trust myself in the room with other beautiful queens. I said, child, Sean going through it. Sean going through it. So Teray comes in and listen, I'm not Sean. I don't even date women. But I would have a hard time around Teray. She gives off a lot of different energy. Her voice is real sultry. Her skin is real smooth. She got on a whole bunch of little jewelries and all of this other stuff. So you staring at her like, even I would be distracted by a Teray. So when she asks him, oh, what do you want to eat? And he's like, that's a loaded question. No, it's not. It is not a loaded question. What y'all giggling about? What do you want to eat? You see what I mean? You see what happened? Like I always say, when you leave the door open. But anyway, they have laughs, and she says that she's going into this situation because it's nice this time to actually be dating somebody and know that he has a girlfriend, because normally she finds out later that men aren't being honest, that they got women at home. So this is a different situation for Teray. She already knows about it. They also talk about different things that she has coming up. I think she models, and it's not a bad date. You know, I can tell that Sean likes her. I can tell he finds her very attractive. But Sean still says that he just want his woman, y'all. He just want his woman. I guess kind of how like the other guy was last season. Like he wasn't really trying to date anybody else. He just wanted his woman. All right. So we move forward. I don't think Ronda went on a date this time. And I know last time I didn't even talk about that older guy she was with, but I could tell she didn't enjoy him, which I mean, he seemed like he would have been cool. And maybe she needs somebody more mature. I don't know. But yeah, Sean, he's a trip. Did y'all see him stand on his toes when he mentioned that Teray had on heels and then he stood on his toes to hug her? I was like, he's so extra. Another thing going on, the fellas all do sit down and have like a roundtable discussion. Do I want to save that? I'll save that when I talk about some other situations. So I'll leave LaRonda and Sean there for now. Let's move forward. Eric and Jessica. Eric's going on another date with the young lady. I forgot her name. The very beautiful one. And Jessica answers the door so she can see what this lady looks like. And Jessica's feeling some type of way, okay? Old girl says that she's very beautiful, and you didn't tell me she was so beautiful, and they just get to complimenting each other. I was just like, do y'all want to go on a date? Eric, you can leave. But she pours them both a shot, and the shot glass is her on there like this, and she was like, yeah, y'all can drink out of me. I said, child, if Prest was a person, it would definitely be you. Eric is enjoying her display of affection. You know, the two of them believe that jealousy is a form of love. They like when the other person is jealous of whoever they going out with. So it's childish, but they enjoy it, and he all laughing about it. Nothing really goes on with this date. We do find out she has a daughter, and she's also taking care of her mother, which is awesome. She does skin therapy or skin. Is she an esthetician? I mean, I'm guessing that's what it is. But she shares more of her story. She definitely says she could see herself with somebody like Eric. I don't really see a lot of substance with her. Like, I don't see her getting a lot of substance out of Eric, but I do see Eric getting a lot of substance out of her. Like, I feel like she's really showing herself and more of what she wants. And Eric is just kind of, real touchy-feely and kind of making some innuendo type of jokes. And I'm just like, hey, now take her seriously if she's trying to bear that with you. Like, you ain't got to be, you know what I'm saying? It ain't got to be about flirting all the time. I mean, but she was flirting back. So maybe that's just the energy that they had, but nothing too much with the dates. But Eric continues to say that he wants somebody that understands him. He wants somebody that will listen to him. He wants somebody that will hear him. So he seems to want more communication and a different type of woman, but he also has to show that, like, you don't be all about there's a time and a place for all the touchy-feely if you want to be taken more seriously about your feelings and the things that you're saying, if you want to be heard. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Let's move to the men having a roundtable discussion. Okay, and then I'm gonna talk about Darian and Alexia. The men have a roundtable discussion with Dr. Nicole. Actually, before that, Jessica has a discussion. Sorry, I'm all over, with Dr. Nicole about her trust issues, and that's one of the biggest things that she has with Eric. Like they have a communication problem, but she also wants to feel like she can trust him and he can trust her, because she always feels like he's questioning her and she always has to be on guard with him. And they talk about where she learned to be on guard. She was bullied as a child, about how she looked, about her hair, and she formed friendships with other people who had experienced those things and other people who had their guard up. And when Eric says little things to her, it's that same guard she had up from when she was bullied. And that is learned behavior for her. That's how she protects herself from people who try to say stuff about her. And Dr. Nicole tells her the great thing about a guard, the great thing about armor, is that it does protect you, but it also doesn't allow the good stuff to come in. So it keeps the bad stuff out, but it doesn't allow anything good to happen to you. And one of the things I noticed early on about you and Eric is that y'all do the same thing to each other. But when it's done, when you're doing it, you don't notice that it's happening. But when it's done to you, you're able to call it out. So she just talks to her about the importance of recognizing the things that she does that are hurtful and also letting that guard down with Eric, because I mean, if you got to be vulnerable, the one place you should be able to do it is in your relationship, but letting that guard down so she can let some of that good stuff in and bring some good stuff about herself out too. So that was that with them. So let's get to the men and their discussion with Dr. Nicole. Sorry, we're finally there. It's Darian, it's Sean and Eric. And they're having a discussion with Dr. Nicole about their ladies and their women problems, and not problems, but their women. Sorry, not that they're a problem, and how they've been coming along in the process. So Sean says that one of their biggest issues has been communication. And he has discovered that although he was super ready with Ronda, he just hadn't asked yet, but he really wanted to be with her. He's noticing that they have been moving in a toxic manner with one another for some time. And I guess they've just kind of gotten used to it. So they need to work on their communication for sure. But he definitely still wants her. However, he doesn't necessarily know how to handle it when Ronda tells him that all of his feelings and emotions, and he is a guy who is able to really, really express himself well, which we've seen. Ronda will say that it's basically draining her and draining the relationship. I've seen this happen before. A lot of times you see it where the woman is doing that, but there are occasions where the man might be a little bit more, I'll just go ahead and use the word emotional. It's not a bad word, than the woman. I will say that when you pray or when you ask or when you want or when you just so happen to come upon a guy who is very emotionally expressive, it's almost like you got to be careful what you ask for. Like, I was with this guy who was very bad at expressing his emotions. I used to get so frustrated because I would never really know how he felt. And on the flip, because I wanted that so bad, when I got into a new relationship, I was with somebody who expressed themselves very well emotionally, and I was not ready for that. I was so not ready. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot to handle when somebody is literally pouring themselves out, like just like how you would pour yourself out, and you'd be like, whoa, like this is I need time to process this. But it is nice being with somebody who is emotionally intelligent, because when you are feeling off or when you feel the need to vent or you having a bad day or whatever, they're very, very understanding of that, because they know how to express it and they know how to empathize with it. So it's awesome in that regard, but it is a lot if you're not ready for it. So maybe Ronda just wasn't ready, child. But they have to deal in that. And Dr. Nicole goes into how a lot of times in the community, a lot of men are taught not to feel, not to be vulnerable, because Eric was like, well, what if you decide that you want to be vulnerable and your woman tell you to man up? And Dr. Nicole said that's unacceptable in your relationship, and you should not allow anybody to say that to you. You should be able to express yourself. It's not just one person in a relationship, which is true. And a lot of times, the men are taught that when somebody does something, you just kind of man up about it, or when you're hurt, you don't really express it. And so a lot of you have been holding that in and holding that back since childhood. You think it's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. It's okay to express yourself to your partner, because you control the tempo of the relationship. She then also tells them, speaking of controlling the tempo, well, you have the ability. She didn't just say solely them. You have the ability to control the tempo of the relationship based on how you react. So learn how to express yourself well. Then she tells them, and Darian makes a comment that he doesn't know how to deal with the fact that they've been together for 14 years and Alexia is telling him that she gonna leave if it's no ring. He don't think that's fair, because I'm in these 14 years too. So all that vulnerability talk and all that talk about expressing yourself and all that talk about how the men have feelings too, I guess Darian has taken that to mean it ain't right for nobody to leave me after 14 years because they not satisfied with what I'm doing around here. I got feelings too. That's the route that Darian is taking it to. And Dr. Nicole tells him, I don't know how to tell you to deal with that, because she has every right to leave if she doesn't want to, because her part of the 14 years was wanting this and desiring this. And she worked with you in that 14 years. It's not going right. And a lot of times we stay in situations where we're just stuck. We're not moving. It's not going anywhere. And you got to get yourself unstuck. And if Alexia wants to get herself unstuck, then she can do that. That's pretty much in a nutshell what she told Darian. So, no, I don't agree with you. I'm not agreeing with you. And I'm not telling you that you're right. And Darian was like, When Dr. Nicole read me, I said, shut up. Shut up, Darian. But Dr. Nicole did tell him, you know, in so many words, she was trying to let him know about himself without completely going off. But she was just like, Darian, Alexia can leave. And you will just have to decide what you are going to do with that. I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to be the one to tell you that marriage. She told all of them, marriage isn't for everybody. I'll be the first person to tell you that. But you all have to decide if it's for you. You have to decide if you want to get married, if you want to ask the question, because you're in the driver's seat on it. And I was just like, and let the church say amen. I have been saying that for so long. Whenever people be like, well, why you not married? Why you not married? Why this person not married? Why that person not married? She's not in the driver's seat on why she's not married. Somebody has to marry her. Somebody has to ask. We don't control the marriage part. We don't control if somebody is going to get married to us. You can change yourself, love yourself, build yourself up, do the femininity. You can do all the stuff that you need to do, all the stuff that's being suggested of you to do, and still not be married if there is nobody around who values marriage enough to ask you. You see what I'm saying? Just because you do all of these things does not mean that somebody is going to say, hey, can I have your hand in marriage? You have to have suitors that want to be married, because that's who controls that. And now the women are taking control, and they going to go ahead and ask. And I'm listen, if that's, ladies, if that's what y'all want to do, then y'all go ahead and do that. But I'm telling you, once the roles get to flipping, I don't want to hear you complaining. Once we always got to ask, because y'all started it, if that's where you want to take it to. But, yeah, there are certain things that are in our control, but when it comes to asking and being in that whole marriage thing, they are in the first chair for that situation. So I'm really glad she said that, because a lot of times I feel like women get talked to like, you know, you're in control of whether or not you get married. No, I'm not. Because even if I'm perfect, if there's nobody around or nobody wants to marry me, guess what? I'm not getting married. Unless I marry myself like homegirl did. So yeah, that was good. Now when Dr. Nicole leaves, I feel like Sean was trying to give Darian a little something, but Darian still wasn't getting it. You know, he still was feeling like, you know, Alexia is being kind of unreasonable. I'm already giving up stuff for her. I already gave up the condo, because Sean asked him, you got to decide what you want to do, bro. Like she said, we in the driver's seat, so you got to decide if that's something you want. And he was like, well, I want whatever Alexia wants. So if a ring gonna make her happy, then that's what I'm gonna do. You're still giving it to Alexia. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And Sean was just like, well, bro, I think what she's saying is like, you know, you guys have been together for 14 years. Y'all have had this time together. You got her now, but she thinking about her future. Like, what her future gonna be like. And Sean was trying to speak some sense to the boy, but he ain't got no sense, Sean. So don't even worry about it. And I think Sean just kind of sat back and gave up. He realized it was a lost cause. And Eric was kind of, I don't know what he was doing. It's almost like he was co-signing what Darian was saying, but I'm not 100% sure. But it kind of sounded like that. And I just wanted to ask, you know, fellas, actually, not just the fellas, everybody. I'm talking to everybody. Is it hard for you to hold your friends accountable? Like, do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel like you're not on their side when you tell them, hey, you're not making no sense? I understand what you're saying, but no, that's not how it works, because I don't have no problem doing it, baby. I'll be the first person. My friends don't barely like talking to me. And vice versa. I would want them to tell me if I'm tripping as well. So it's just like, Is it hard for people to do? Because all that kikiing with Darian, honey, I would not. If it was my homegirl, ain't no way. Baby, I'm not finna laugh with you. But anyway, that was the snippet with the gentleman. So Alexia and Darren. Darren. Is that his name? Why I keep wanting to call him Darian? Where is it Darian? Don't matter. It don't matter what his name is. We're going to call him stupid in a minute. So Alexia and the boy, they meet up. They back at the house, right? Now, I think we found out when the guys were talking that is actually Alexia's house, is what it sounds like. Because Eric said, well, then, you give up the condo. What you going to do when she puts you out again? Where you going to go? I was like, is that not his home or what? So I need can somebody look into that for me, please? But anyway, they're talking about what their ideas of marriage are. What their idea of marriage is. And for Alexia, she says it's about family matters to her. That's what she thinks about when she thinks about marriage. And I was like, that ain't enough. Now, I don't know if the cameras cut you off or what happened, but I want to know for real, Alexia, why do you want to get married? Because I had to ask myself that question some years back because I couldn't come up with a good, solid answer. I got one now, but back then I didn't even have one. So sometimes I wonder if we want to get married just because we're tired of people asking us why we're not. And that's the wrong reason, or we feel like we got to be because it makes us more socially acceptable. You really need to ask yourself why you want to do it, and are you ready for the business partnership? Because that's what Dr. Nicole said. It is a business, and it must be discussed as such, okay? Because everybody always tell me I'm wrong when I say that. Even one of my guy friends was like, no, it's about y'all being best friends. Meanwhile, he was divorced, so I'm just like, child, obviously you don't know. No shade, but obviously you don't even know the setup either. So you sit down and take some lessons with me. Well, what was I saying? Alexia, I need more reasoning from you. As far as Milk Dud, he says stuff like, well, I mean, I don't mind. I don't want to lose the fun. That's all I'm talking about. Like, I just don't want to lose the fun and the cuddling. Because once you add them titles, it's like you lose the fun. Do you guys realize that as grown people, didn't I say this last week? It's not all about fun. You deny yourself certain things so that you can have a comfortable adult life. Okay? There are certain things that you exchange in life for security. And I'm not saying that all the fun is gone and that life is over, but sometimes I feel like we struggle. A lot of people struggle in this community. I don't know if it's because we look younger than our age. I'm not really sure what it is, but we struggle with growing up and stepping into these ideals of manhood and ideals of womanhood. We just struggle getting there. It's like we're just sometimes holding on to the days of our youth. There's nothing wrong with feeling young and feeling youthful on the inside, but you deny yourself some of those little fun times so that you can have a secure life. And you start to you have those moments of fun, but you take care of business too. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to do that, quit getting with people who do and expecting them to be into your will. Alexia is not 19 anymore. If you're still stuck in that younger age, wanting to do those younger things and live that younger, freer life, then either get you a younger woman or get you a woman that's about that life too. I don't know who, but get you some of that because she's ready to move on to some different things in life. And there's nothing wrong with either one. Just don't hit yourself to me when you know what I want. So anyway, he says that a baby would be fun. I can't even get into that. Then they start talking about marriage as he saw it versus how she saw it. People in her family are together. His grandmother and grandma were together. However, they fought a lot. So they were together, but they weren't necessarily happy. And I think we'll find a lot of that if we really go back and look at our grandmothers and our great grandmothers and all of that. A lot of people like to bring that up to kind of give the spotlight on relationships. Like back in the day, they was staying together. They was grinding. They was making it work. Yeah, but what was going on inside? And were there choices in the matter? Because early 1920s or 30s, some women couldn't even have a bank account on their own. Right? So a lot of times you had to get married for that security. And for the fellas, you had to get married to have those children. Not necessarily. Because we definitely know it was going down still. But if you wanted to be in the household with your kids and all of that, you had children with that woman. And a lot of times, y'all would work together and there were different things going on in society at that time. So, you know, your family unit needed to be a certain type of way, just to fight the social issues of the world. It was very much a different time. Now, when you marry somebody and you get with somebody, it's you looking at stuff that's the old values matter, but it's a lot more stuff mixed into it now. Now you got to actually like each other, you know, to get married. Now you hit on me, I can leave. I don't have to stay here and let you beat on me just to have a place to lay my head. Things are different now, and you really would think that you would be glad about that we're not darn near in the, you know, the status where we got to tolerate each other. I'm not sure why people talk about those times. Like, I get it because the rates and stuff were better, but they talk about those times like we don't know, or we're not aware of what was going on the inside of that. Like, are you okay with that too? Because if so, we need to have a different discussion. But Darian is just like, yeah, I saw some things that wasn't really right. Like, I saw a marriage that lasted, but I didn't necessarily see a happy marriage. So that explains a lot. Dang, I forgot I got a meeting to go to. Oh, I don't even feel like it. Okay. So anyway, y'all, that's what went on with Darian and Alexia with their ideas of marriage. Later on, we have him meeting with Kai for closure, and oh, what a closed door it was. It was a closed door, but it was an open closet full of skeletons. Because when Kai got there, first of all, Kai looked like she don't fight fair. She came in there, sat down, baby, didn't let it spoil her appetite. She was eating just fine. Telling Darian, I ain't heard from you in about 10 days since I got ghosted. Darian is trying to tread lightly with Kai, like, okay, you said I ghosted you, but I was just trying to get my mind together, and I don't think we could see each other no more, because my girl, you know, Lex, I really want to be with her, and she don't like us being together. And Kai was just like, so what, you been knew that? You been knew she didn't like us being together, but are you happy? Because you always worried about what she want and what she need. Child, I'm not even going to go through the whole thing. Kai just want to know, am I supposed to take one for the team? Darren is just like, I'm bringing you here. Like, I clearly care about your feelings, or else I wouldn't have brought you here. Listen, Kai basically say, listen, all that stuff you talking about, Alexia, you wasn't saying all of that when you slept with me. And that's where the episode ended. I don't really know what Alexia is going to do. I don't really know what her plan is. But yeah, that's what happened, you guys. And I already knew that something like that was going to happen, because he doesn't want to be with Alexia. He doesn't want Alexia to go anywhere, because he likes the comfort and the peace of knowing she's around, and it make his stomach hurt thinking of her with somebody else. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you could sleep with somebody else on national television, and then Mila B speaks, says she got some tea that he had already been married before, and all this other stuff. So it might all be fraudulent, but he did exactly what we thought he would do. He don't want to be with Alexia. He is just one of those guys that will string you along, and he just want to live life freely. What Alexia is guilty of is allowing him to waste her time for so long. And I don't like that. I don't. I'm mad at sis for that. I'm not gonna lie. But the best revenge is just moving on. So y'all let me know what you thought about the episode. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.